Ford. For warrants of fitness, vehicle servicing, tyres and alloys for all make and models. Chewham Street in the city. NewstalkZB.
It is NewstalkZB with Chris Ivan Local, and time for a very important and very busy segment. Looking at the business in Christchurch, joined Leeann Watson. How are you? Good to see you.
Good, thanks, Chris.
Now, the economy, I think, is doing a lot better than what many people think. What do you reckon, particularly in Christchurch?
Yeah, look, it is. Basically, the average increase across our economy is greater than that of the national average, which is really positive. And that is largely predominantly underpinned by a really strong manufacturing sector, which is up about 19% for Canterbury for the month of August, which is obviously our latest GDP figures available.
And this is all good news because last night there was the Hospitality Awards where people were recognising, all the amazing outlets in Christchurch. And there is a good vibe in the city. I think people are realising that it's not so bad in Christchurch. What's your gut feeling? And is the worst yet to come? Because I'm not entirely convinced it is.
Look, I think we have seen a really strong last quarter. And some of that is around sort of the pent-up demand as we came out of lockdown. So August was obviously the third consecutive month after we came out of lockdown. So we're probably starting to see a little bit of easing back on some of the retail spend, but we're still in a pretty positive place. And you would expect that actually after some of that pent-up demand when we initially came out of lockdown. And we're still, as I say, on average, better than the national figures, which is really positive for the city and the region. And I agree, there's a great vibe out there. And as we come into
nice weather.
Yes, the weather doesn't play its part at the moment, but actually, we know in Christchurch as we come into spring and Cup and Show Week and all those sorts of things, put us into a different environment here, and it's really positive.
Okay, employment market. Is it good? Is it bad? I mean, there does appear to be lots of jobs around, but it depends, I guess, what those types of jobs are. Yeah,
look, as probably expected, we have seen quite a significant increase of job seekers in the Canterbury market from January to September. So that is, a real challenge for those people who find themselves in those positions. And in fact, we are a little bit above the national average when it comes to the number of job seekers here in Canterbury. So that reinforces the need to get out there, really support our local business community and provide some certainty and give them confidence so that they can start re-employing and employing more people and get some of those people off some of those benefits.
What I've noticed is that Entex is struggling. A lot of the businesses there are struggling. The traffic is low. I don't know whether Riverside Market's taken some of that, but that is really struggling. And I would encourage people to have a look around there. There's some lovely wee eateries there that I go there with my flatmate. There's a really good Cambodian place. There's a lovely Thai place, and my favourite, a Vietnamese place as well. These people, and it's good food, I'm not just saying that, but they need a bit of help. Why is it, do you think, the likes of Entex is struggling? Because it's like a morgue when you go in there sometimes now.
Yeah. Look, I think, retail in the city and in fact at the world has changed quite significantly. And it's really important that we recognise that sometimes changes come pretty fast and how those organisations actually continue to evolve and adapt their businesses to make sure that they can connect with customers and to make sure that people in our city are aware of what is available in there. I mean, the number of outlets that you just talked about, I would question if people actually know about that. So, we need to do our bit around trying to help share the good news stories, share the experiences.
And the good food is plenty of it.
And those businesses, I think, to get out and about and actually look at different ways of engaging with customers. And some of that can be through, social media channels. Some of it can be through, channels like yourself. And actually just getting out there and making sure that the business community and the general public actually understand who's out there and what they can offer.
It will be tough going there for some people, but overall, what's your impression of how retail is tracking?
So retail
seems like a bit of a mixed bag.
Yeah, it is a bit of a mixed bag. And look, I think we know some of the hospitality operators and some of the tourism operators will continue to be impacted until the borders reopen. And so that's going to be challenging, but actually there's equally, some huge success stories out there with some of the hospitality and retailers who've really done a great job of sort of reinventing themselves, thinking outside the square and doing things differently. And I think that's really positive. The manufacturing sector, as I said before, is performing really well, as is the export sector. And then we've got, certain parts of retail, such as home renovation. You mentioned a couple of weeks ago, and we spoke. Apparently, the cosmetic surgeries places are doing pretty well. I've told quite a few people
isn't
about that.
it? Yeah,
And,
get involved.
home reno, those sorts of things are also doing pretty well.
It's amazing how
yeah.
busy the likes of Bunnings and Mitre 10, those sort of places on the weekend, they are chock-a-block, aren't they?
Yeah. Look, I was just saying, actually, in the weekend we spend quite a bit of time in some of those places, and they are always, it doesn't matter what time of the day you go to some of these, hardware stores, they are always packed. And so that's a really good indication. And I also think, looking at some of the other sectors that have really done a great job of just continuing to offer good experiences. I mean, domestic tourism has, really grown significantly, and I hope that will continue. We know that is well up. We know international tourism is clearly well down, but actually it has been offset by some really good supportive domestic tourism. So
it has, and I don't know if I told you this last time, but when I was at Hamner Springs, and one of the restaurant owners said to me, keep the borders closed, because they've been really busy consistently, not just during public holiday periods, and because people, even from Auckland, are thinking, well, we can't go to Sydney for that long weekend. We're going to come to Christchurch or Hamnet and do that. And in some respects, that's good to hear, isn't it? But the borders do need to be open at some stage. But that conversation, I don't think we're ready for that for months away. What's your gut feeling? What are businesses are saying?
Yeah, look, I think in general, and it is mixed, but I think there are certain sectors and certain business operators that do want to see the borders open, but opened in a really controlled, managed and staged way. We cannot keep the borders closed, forever. We know that COVID is going to be part of our lives for quite some time to come. So we need to make sure that we've got those good, robust systems for quarantining and testing, so that we can continue to look at how we bring people in certain sectors. I mean, international students is one that's obviously been socialised a bit. How we manage that. How we manage those processes. I mean, that is a job for the government to focus on as we head towards next year, because it is really important. They bring a significant amount of income to our economy right across New Zealand.
I hate to say it, but they're probably even more likely to want to even pay for their own managed isolation.
That's right.
It's no cost to us.
Yes.
We're out of time. Always good to see Leeann Watson from the Chamber of Commerce. Now, just a quickly update.